Welcome to DixysStorytimeWorld.
Let's meet Noah Zark, a boy who loves animals so much his house is overflowing with them. Can Noah's family solve the animal overload without losing his best friends? Let's find out in this heartwarming tale, written by Susan Polk van Dusen and illustrated by Scott Mattson. To get your copy of this book, please check the links in the description at the bottom of this video. The Zarks lived in a tiny house and loved a simple life. The father was a carpenter. The mother was his wife. Their only son was 8 years old, and Noah was his name. His parents loved him desperately. Young Noah felt the same. The only problem that arose was Noah's choice of friends. He liked to do things his own way and didn't follow trends. Instead of hanging out with kids or playing games and sports, Noah chose to spend his days with critters of all sorts. Noah thought that creatures were the best friends in the land. When one would want to live with him, he'd think the idea grand. His playmates overtook his house. They loved the porch and roof. A head poked out a window. Carpet tore beneath a hoof. It's time that something must be done, his father said quite clearly. There isn't room for us to move. We're trapped within here nearly. Mr. Zark and Mrs. Zark devised a clever plan. They'd build a boat to house the pets, each penguin, pig, and lamb. They built the structure in the yard while Noah slept at night. The neighbors peered with wondering eyes. Those Zarks are not quite right. When morning came, his mother said, We've built your pets a boat, and in it you can keep them all, each hippo, sheep, and goat. Noah looked at what they'd built. He was quite sad, you see. He didn't want his friends to leave and live upon the sea. Oh, no, his father said to him. They needn't leave the yard. This boat won't float, he told his son. That feat was just too hard. So Noah rounded up his pets to see where they would stay. He feared they might forget him soon and never want to play. He brought a friendly parakeet, a small one to be sure. It sat upon his finger as he gave the bird a tour. Next he found 2 rhinos and he led them by the horn. It won't be bad, he said to them, but they looked so forlorn. 3 emus followed up the pack and weren't the least bit happy. Noah said he'd visit them and promised to be snappy. 4 penguins waddled up the plank, all dressed in black and white. They peeked around from room to room and took in every sight. 5 kangaroos were next in line and hopped themselves aboard. They headed to the snack bar to see what they could afford. The next day Noah went to check on how his friends were doing. He was surprised to find a scene that simply was confusing. Music blared and lights flashed bright. A disco ball was spinning. The chimps all lined up one by one. The buffet was beginning. How did this happen? Noah asked. I thought you were always sad. I came to rescue you, he said. I felt so very bad. Don't you want to go with me and live at home once more? I thought you missed me, Noah sighed and headed for the door. All the dancing stopped at once. The disco ball stopped turning. No one even noticed when the fondue started burning. A chimpanzee stepped to the front and walked straight for the door. He gently took young Noah's hand and led him back once more. The animals all looked at him with longing in their eyes. You like it here? He asked his pets. Well, this is a surprise. I guess my folks were right, he said. This boat's great after all. I'll visit you each afternoon and we can have a ball. The animals all gave high fives, each chimpanzee and aardvark. They hugged and smiled and seemed to say, 3 cheers for Noah Zark. The end. Thank you, kids, for listening.